Hey everyone, it's time for a look at another LEGO Speed Champions set. This is the McLaren Elva. I have to admit, I initially looked at this one with some negative biases because, well, I personally am not a big fan of cars with no roof. I also really don't understand just mentally. I've got a blockage against cars with no windscreen. So this had two things going against it for me based on just the source material alone. However, that said, all that aside, I enjoyed the build of this car, and I like how it turned out. I'm still not a fan of cars without roofs or cars without windshields, but I definitely like the LEGO version of this car way better than I like the real thing. And I'm not, I don't even care about the performance of the real car or anything in this case. I'm just talking about how it looks. This was a very satisfying build in the back especially. This is the most interesting stuff. Honestly, it doesn't look as good in the finished product as it felt to put it together. So this is definitely a case where it was more enjoyable to go through the build than to see it in the end. Forget about the roof. Don't have to worry about that. Just looking at it as a car, as the back of a car. Like especially these areas around the fenders feel a little bit weird to me. The door frames are just hinged in the most odd way. I got the slightest little misalignment right there. Sorry about that. But those actually do not open. They don't flip up or anything like that. The front end is nice, but it wasn't too special. It's pretty straightforward. Pretty much you can see what you get there. You can see what got put together. So, nothing too crazy with the building techniques. But yeah, overall, this was very satisfying and felt better to me than I expected it to. I just kind of came into this one with a little bit of a negative cloud, and it cheered me up. It lifted me up. This piece right here, the gunmetal gray colored part with the single sticker on it, was especially interesting. I mean, it's almost a cheat. It's such a non-LEGO-like piece, but LEGO has so many specialized pieces. Who's to say at this point? But it's a nice shape that works out well. But I also really like back here, especially how they got those thin tail lights in there. You can actually see how they're mounted from above. They've got the nozzle pieces or tap, like water faucet pieces, just the regular classic ones in blue there. And they attached a couple of axe blades. Not the first time that they've used an axe blade or something weapon-like to represent a light on a Speed Champions car, but it's different how it was done here, and I like how that turned out. And I really appreciate the inclusion of silver as a new color for the candlestick pieces. So those are just, bottom rearward, and I really look forward to getting more of those in the future. And then on the inside, this was a huge surprise to me to get that right there, that center console as a print. Kind of nice, kind of deluxe. And then on top of that, we already saw this from the pictures early on. The seat backs are prints. So there are two of them. You can see one of them. The other one's behind the driver right now, of course, who has a helmet on just a little bit askew. But yeah, printed seat back. Uncalled for, unnecessary. Other details in this model are done with stickers. And honestly, if they had done that with a sticker, it probably would have had a better color match for the white to the white colored plastic piece up above. And as usual, the LEGO marketing, graphic design, visual design folks either use renders or use Photoshop to make the whites look like they're supposed to match, but in reality they don't. I don't like that very much, but it doesn't matter that much here. I mean, it's supposed to represent just fabric, but it's the principle of it. I want pictures, official pictures of products always to represent what the product actually looks like and not to oversell the quality when some is missing. But overall, this was an enjoyable build. I liked it. Let's take a closer look at the figure. Right here from this angle, this doesn't look very impressive, but turn it just a little bit so that the light hits it right, and you see that really interesting pattern built into it. It looks very, very sporty and designed for making sure to keep you dry as you sweat, but probably keeps you warm at the same time in all the air that's flowing through the car, because again, it has no windshield and it has no roof. But an exclusive, new, interesting print for a torso, front and back. Take this off and show you that there is no alternate face. However, there is an alternate headgear piece. Always good to see. Appreciate that very much. Always, always, always. Thank you, Lego. And then finally, with the extra parts, they always give you an extra set of the wheel inserts. You do get one of the special center console prints as an extra, and some of these are useful things. And then the sticker sheet, it's not that big this time around. Now, the fact that I had to pay $20 US for this set feels weird to me, feels off, given that there's not as much car here as usual. You know, $20 US is the normal price for these 8-wide Speed Champions now, but this one doesn't have a roof and it doesn't have a windscreen. So my brain says there's less car here, thus there should be a lower price. However, look at that part count. It's a lot of pieces, 263 pieces. This is no slouch in the parts complexity department, and that's more fuel to the fire behind all of this being good stuff back here. There's a lot of building, a lot of small, intricate building, like I said, in the rear third. At the very least, check out online digital instructions for this, even if you're not going to purchase the car, if you are interested in interesting Lego build techniques. So overall, I can see the value. I understand it. I get it. Having gone through the build process, I feel the value, even though my brain still looks at that and says, well, there's a part of a car that's just not there, and a pretty important part to me. So I would like to pay less for this than I do for one that has all the rest. But overall, I felt very good about this. It exceeded my expectations. One thing that I didn't mention earlier was the awkwardness of that right hand of the driver being up in the air. There is a way to get that hand down below the console. You need to remove the center console first, then put the driver in. Make sure that you are using the helmet and not a hairpiece. Hairpiece won't fit back there. But then put the center console on top of it. And you can just barely wedge the hand in there, and it looks far less awkward. But other than that quirk, pretty happy with this. Yeah, the print's not perfect, but I'm satisfied. I'm definitely satisfied. Let me know what you think. Thanks for watching, and I'll talk to you again soon.